Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and Destiny's got a man at home. Oh, yes, she does. Yes, she does. Well, he ain't at her home, but he's at his home in St. Louis. But we're going to get into all of that. Don't you worry. We got all the tea on Destiny and her new man. She is finally making some revelations that are even shocking to, I think, the women on this show. Okay, but we're going to get started in just 1 second. Welcome back to the channel. As you guys know, I'm still on the travel, but I was able to still get these Love and Marriage Huntsville reviews done for y'all, okay, because I was committed. I was committed to the show, okay? And so we about to get into this Ponderosa right now. So I need you guys to grab your teacups, your tea kettles, your coffee mugs, your Starbucks, your honest wine, your champagne, your black champagne in a bottle or something like that, and drink it all up, guzzle it all down right now, because we about to get into this Ponderosa, and we're going to rate this episode. Now, for those of you guys who are new here to the channel, we rate the episode on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, obviously, and 10 being the highest. And what am I giving this episode here? I think I'm going to give this episode, I'm going to give it a 9.5. Let me tell you something. It was so many bones being carried in this episode. We finally left Tennessee. I almost gave it a half a point for that, okay? I was so over that couple's retreat, baby. Listen, I get it. I don't know. I was just over that thing for some reason. I can't even call it. It won't because of Dr. Francis, because low-key, he can show up as a friend to the show all the time, and the way he was dragging them, reading them folks. But anyway, he was telling the truth, though. Trying to help them. Some of them listened, some of them didn't. But anyway, yes, the people was carrying the bones. We got the reveal about Destiny's new man. We got a photo of the new man. We got her talking about her business finally. And listen, we got the girls calling her out about not sharing her business. We got Melody and Martell preparing to confront Miss Wanda. We got it all. So let's get down into the business, okay? Y'all let me know what y'all rated in the chatterization, and of course, let me know why you gave it that rating in the chat. So let's get into this thing, this jamboree, baby. So Dr. Francis is still trying to coach Maurice to embrace Kimmi as more than just a relations partner or some type of live blow up doll for his pleasurization. Anyway, Maurice is like, so are you telling me that if I do more with her and for her, then I'll get more action? No, man. No, that's not what they saying to you. They got to break it down to the basic level for this man. I'm like, you know what? He claims he's going to do better. He gives Kimmi the hug and gives her the doe eyes that he always liked to give her, okay? And, Kimmi is not looking like she believes him. And she tells Dr. Francis that they have had this conversation plenty of times before. And at this point, he vows to look at her as more than just a means to an end, his climactical end, okay? But even in his confessional, he's still joking about it, and she's still looking at him crazy. And then he asked Dr. Francis if they can maybe compartmentalize and maybe sometimes just use relations to bond, and other times maybe they can just get it in. I think that's a normal thing for couples to do. Is sometimes it's gonna be wham bam, and sometimes it's gonna be touch me, tease me. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's gonna be that. But I don't think it's gonna be touch me, tease me, wham bam, touch me, tease me, wham bam, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. Okay, that's a little bit excessive, and you might need to, I don't know, that might be a different thing that you need to talk to Dr. Francis about on the side, not on this show. Okay, anyway, the next day we find out that Tiffany and Lewis have left all, and so they have left a message with the group that they have even put some of Dr. Francis's practice into action on the way home. Well, probably not the communication part, because they failed to say goodbye to anybody, okay, before they left. All right. They did not say not one nary goodbye. Tiffany, of course, has to do some work. She's got a speech in Birmingham, and Lewis happily was just driving off into the sunset with her. Letitia feels like they finally got to see a different side of them, at least. And Marceau is like, yeah, and that side was fake too. That good old Marceau just calling it like he sees it. Anyway, Maurice and Kimmi recap their session with Dr. Francis, and he admits that he's gonna have to make some apologies, and he's happy that he did it, and he would do this whole session all over again, which is at least a good sign that something sunk in some kind of way, hopefully somewhere within the depths of his spirit. We will never know, because I do not care to know what goes on in their boudoir. But for Kimmi's sake and sanity, I hope that it sunk in, because she's just, she's not a robot. She is not a blow up doll. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is more than just a plaything for when you want to get off. Okay. Anyway, Dr. Francis and Miss Marlowe, his wife, arrive, and they question where Tiffany and Lewis are. So the group reveals that Tiffany, of course, had a speaking engagement in Birmingham, and Dr. Francis is like, oh, why am I not surprised by this? This girl cannot commit to anything. All she's gonna do is go work, 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 and he's gonna make excuses for her after excuses for her after excuses for her. And they really didn't get as much as he felt like they could have got out of the sessions had they been more present and in the moment. Dr. Francis feels like each couple, though, needs to work on trust. He feels like not everyone was being 100% honest, because they feel like if they are 100% honest in person, then they will face the consequences at home. Now, I want to know who y'all think he was talking about right here. You know what I'm saying? Who y'all think he was talking about right here? All right, that's what I want to know. Write it down in the chatterization, because I just want to know y'all opinion. He said it, not me. So I'm just trying to figure out who y'all think he was talking about. All right. Pacifically. Anyway, before they go though, Miss Marlowe pulls Letitia to the side, and she says, "Girl, you remind me of myself when I was younger. Pleasing everybody, putting everybody's needs before your own." And she says, "You need to learn how to take care of yourself. Remember to set goals for yourself while you are taking care of everybody else." And we are finally out of Tennessee. Woo! Thank the Lord. Back in Huntsville. Never thought I'd be so glad to get back to Huntsville, but here we go. So we're out shopping with Destiny and Letitia and Kimmi before they get to go to lunch or whatever. And they tell her they went to a couples event and whatnot. And Destiny is like, well, why did I get invited? Letitia's like, girl, because you ain't a couple. What? And here goes Destiny again. She's being vague about if she is or if she is not in a situationship. And she's not really willing to give up any info, at least to them, okay? And so they tell her, well, then that's why you can't come on the couples trip. If you're going to come on the couples trip, you got to be transparent, and you still in the practice of being vague. And if you do go on a couples trip, that is going to be the place where your vagueness will be exposed even further. So it's probably best that for now you refrain from coming on any couples trips. Why would you even want to be there on a trip with a bunch of couples that you don't even want to bring your significant other around to, because you don't want the people to know who your significant other is right now? And first of all, let me go on the record and state this. I personally believe that in real life, when you are dating somebody, you should keep them away from your friends for at least a minute. You get to know this person first. Now, I do also advocate for the whole facts, which is phone a very close, trusted friend who you trust with your life, with the key to your house, okay? That's the type of person that you need to be trying to get the whole facts from. Find out if there's any intel about this person on the streets, okay? And then come back and then make your decisions on your own. But before you introduce him or her to the rest of the crowd, I feel like you should wait a little bit, vet this person out for yourself, because I don't need to meet every single person that you just messing around with. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like you should be introducing everybody you messing around with, because I don't really want to know that personally as a friend. But that's me speaking as a grown man, right? Maybe when I was younger, I wanted to know the business, but I don't really want to know that tea right now because it don't concern me. It doesn't concern me. I don't care. I don't want to know. Anyway, um, so back to Destiny being vague. Kimmi says in her confessional that Destiny is just tight-lipped about everything. The divorce, problems with Madani. It's just her to be tight-lipped and not tell none of her info on this reality TV show. Okay. And then Destiny got the nerve to ask if Tiffany and Lewis were being transparent. Girl, are you? So that's the real question. Like, I mean, you cannot ask. You can't be like, I mean, was they being transparent? No, girl, are you? Are you being transparent? Where are we gonna see some transparency? Because I don't see it yet. I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, I don't see it. And so it's we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about it in a minute, though. We'll talk about it in a minute. So they recap the couple's trip and the running activity, and Destiny asked a shady question about the running activity and why Letitia and Marceau did so well. And she was like, "Did you let Marceau lead? Is that why y'all did well?" I mean, she didn't say it like that, but she kind of it was the shade of it all for me. Anyway, they joke about if they go on another couple's trip, then it'll be a general trip, and they want Destiny to bring her new man. In her confessional, she does admit to having a new man, but she's been keeping it on the low right now, and they'll meet him in due time. And I wrote sigh. Now, I will say, when I did interview Destiny, she did hint that there was a new man. So she has been transparent about that. And I did tell her during the interview that I said, well, I don't fault you for not wanting to, expose who this person is while you still in the figuring out phase, right? Because we don't need to see all that. But it's because people have felt like she hid the divorce and elements of the divorce and other aspects of her life, that this seems to be a thing that's compounded on top of that, which is the reason why she gets the rap that she don't really tell none of her business on a show about telling your business, okay? Especially when it comes to love, marriage, and relationships, because the show is called, in fact, Love and Marriage Huntsville. Okay, so let me continue on, all right, because we must go. So they find some wine, and somebody wonders if there's any Ines there, but of course there is not, because he got another store he's trying to get to, unless this was another wine rack across town. And if that's the case, I don't know how many wine racks they got up in Huntsville, but whatever. So Kimmi then mentions Melnika, and that Maurice said that Martell, was on the boys' trip calling her male number one. And then she says that Melody revealed to her that Melnika was supposed to be doing their wedding, but ended up telling Melody that Martell was cheating or something, and that Melnika that Martell was asking about Melnika's assistant in some type of lascivious way, and that Mel believed that Melnika and Martell have always had something going on. Now, that was a lot to write out. There was a lot to say. There's a lot of males involved, a lot of Mars involved in this show. And so it's a wonder I didn't get tongue-tied, but praises be. And so anyway, the continuation of that flashback scene that we got from last season with Kimmi and Melody talking about Miss Melnika is that Kimmi stated in the flashback that Maurice said that Melnika was married. And then Melody says, well, when has that ever been an issue for the peoples out there that wants to, get their freak on? And so anyway, Letitia and Destiny then question why Melody brought that up. And Kimmi says, well, actually, that was my fault because it was brought up that Melnika was in Atlanta. So Destiny in her confessional says she don't believe anything that Melody says that comes out her mouth, but she still does not think it's the case, or at least she hopes it's not the case, that Martell and Melnika were messing around or whatever. She don't want to believe none of that. And we have to say alleged because this is just I specifically want to say alleged in this situation because that woman is married. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just trying to uphold that bit of sanctity, in that situation. We'll find out more about Miss Melnika and what she thinks about this next week in the next week's episode based on the preview clips that we have seen down below. Now, let us continue on. All right. So, Kimmi asks They start talking about the Madani lunch because Destiny has went to high school with Melnika and Martell, and she's cool with Melnika now, and she has invited Melnika to the Madani relaunch or relaunch opening or whatever. And so Kimmi asked, "Well, is everybody coming? Like everybody, including Melody or whatever?" And Stormy, how about Melody and Stormy? And Destiny says that she's going to need security if that's the case. And Letitia says, facts. Destiny said everybody that should be there will be there. So the guys all meet up for some pool. They joke about Dr. Francis bringing them all closer. Martell rolls up with his shirt unbuttoned down to the décolleté, and then they recap the marriage retreat and how Lewis got grilled, and that Dr. Francis really got into Tiffany early in the retreat because she took a phone call during the session and whatnot. And Maurice was like, Marceau was in the background cheering Dr. Francis on, like, get him, you better get him. So Lewis runs and gets drinks for everybody, but reveals in his confessional that he didn't really take much from Dr. Francis at all. So that was a waste of time. And so Martell asked what the rest of the guys took from the session. And so, Marceau reveals that he and Letitia have faced a lot of external adversity, and, that the rope session really helped them and made them realize that their marriage may be untraditional to other people, but it works for them. Then Lewis and Tiffany got closer because they trauma bonded over being dragged by Dr. Francis. Maurice thinks that the rope challenge showed him that he might have a plan for their relationship, but that he has to also include Kimmi in on that plan in order for their marriage to continue to work in the way that they want it to work. They asked Martell if he misses being like in couples therapy and stuff like that. And he says he's ready to get married again. And Marceau is like, what? Ain't this a little bit too soon? And he's like, no, not right now, but sometime, before the next 5 or 6 years is up. I mean, I'm trying to be married again. I mean, maybe Sheree will be the one to, bring it all home to Papa. Okay. Maybe Sheree will be the person that he will end up spending the rest of his life with in holy matrimony. One never knows. Okay. But the thing that I found was interesting was that he said he's ready to get married again, and he's ready to have a woman beside him every time he goes somewhere. Now, see, to me, that doesn't necessarily scream, I want to be married. It screams to me, I need I need a showpiece. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, I could be reading more into it than what was actually said, but when I think about Martell and how he kind of moves and stuff like that, it really gives me, I just want a show pony to take with me around to show the world I got a good looking woman on my arm. It sounds like the whole thing with Sheree. But anyway, I digress because I feel like Martell wants more of a showpiece than a marriage wherein, that's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. And if it is, ain't nothing, listen, that's your prerogative, sir. You can do whatever you want to do. But I do think that I feel like that's the case. And I could be wrong. So anyway, speaking of which, he's home playing with the kids. Melody stops by, they all head into the house, and she asks if he's heard about Wanda speaking on the kids and questioning the paternity of the children. And then we get a flashback of Martell confronting Miss Wanda about that last year, okay? And apparently the reason why this has come up again was because when Melody was on the nightcap with Carlos King with Monique, it was said on there by Melody that Miss Wanda's baby daddy, aka Letitia's father, was in her DMs trying to check up on it. Ooh, you're looking like you like what you see. So, she was saying that was the reason why Miss Wanda was coming at the kids again. So apparently she don't have Miss Wanda's number. Martell's gonna get the number. So anyway, at some point in time, Melody is planning to confront Miss Wanda about this whole situation. Okay. And since the communication with Martell is doing much better, she's inviting him to Destin along with the kids because she was planning to go to Destin with the kids. Apparently, they used to be the family vacation spot, and she's about to go back there. And so she's inviting him to come on down and spend some time with her and the kids. Okay. Anyway, we see Destiny at home. Listen, now, here we go with Destiny's God Man at home. Okay? Or at least on the phone. Is Jamal here? I mean, that is the question. Okay. Is Jamal coming? I don't know what makes me think of that all the time. But just don't it just didn't it just give you those type of vibes? It gave me those type of vibes. Maybe it was just me. I don't know. But I could listen, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm trying to find my little I'm trying to find my Bell Collective folder, but I can't find it right now. So I can't add that little slide, but that's what it made me think about. So anyway, speaking of which, she's at home. She reveals that life has been hell. Okay. She's doing an official reopening of Madani. She chats with her assistant. They working on the guest list. Wanda gonna bring her food truck. And in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. When did Wanda get the food truck? Because last we heard, Wanda did not have a truck. There was a truck, but that truck was dilapidated. And Marceau was not at a point where he was agreeing to put any money into it. So what is going on with the food truck? I know we're going to get an answer to that next episode, but I want to know how she planning on bringing a food truck that's non-existent right now, or at least in the storytelling of this show right now. It is not clear to me that Wanda has a food truck business that is in operation. Okay. So I need to understand the background on that before I see Wanda with a food truck just sitting out there. I need somebody to tell me that part of the story. Thank you very much. Okay. Meanwhile, Madani has been in limbo for months. The panorama, her financial situation has changed. She tried to buy the building. They're not trying to sell her the building. So she going to continue on anyway, which I think is amazing. Okay. Yes, more of this type of destiny, please. Let's see you more in your business, okay, and not in everybody else's. Bloop. Okay. Because you yourself, Destiny, are an interesting person on this show, and I want to know more about what you've got going on. So when we say, Destiny, that you're being vague, it's only because we want more, and we want more because you're a character on this show who is of interest. Okay, so don't take it as shade and don't take it defensively when people ask you questions, because we want to know more because you're interesting. It is a compliment. Okay. Glad I got that out. Anyway, so she gets a call from Mr. Moses, her new boo. Now we learned that her new boo apparently he's not gonna be able to make it to the thing, to the opening or whatever. But they've known each other for a few years, over a few years. She says a few years right here, but then later she will say 13 years. So I don't know how many few and 13. I just work it out yourselves. And then she says they reconnected after her divorce. He lives in St. Louis, another long distance relationship. She says he's very strong, and then being with an alpha man and an alpha woman is interesting. All this time she's talking to her new boo. Her son is trying to pull her wig off. Anyway, we learned that she is trying to fly there to see him, and they are at the point, at least in their situationship or relationship, where they are saying the I love yous, and we also get a photo. Okay. I was like, yes, producers, y'all better get us something so we can believe it, because otherwise it would have felt like the person who lives in the phone, Jamal. AKA allegedly. All right, all commentary is alleged. I don't know where that man lives. I'm sure he lives someplace else besides the phone. That was what Karen said, not me. I didn't say it. I'm just repeating what she said. I don't know if that's called spreading the rumor, but whatever the case is, we see the man right here in the photograph. So at least we can put a face with the Moses name. All right. Meanwhile, Martell stops by the wine rack to, give the owners a tasting, and he was nervous, so he had invited Destiny, but she laid AF. And so, they start the tasting. The owners like the smell. It has legs. And, finally we learn that they love it. And then Destiny arrives, and she invites him to the Madani relaunch, and he asks if her new boo will be there. And she says, no, of course not. Well, I think I wrote that. I think that's what I wrote. No, of course he won't be there. And so anyway, he asks how long they've been dating, and she says long enough. This is the vague stuff that the people be talking about, Destiny. Just tell the man we've been dating for X amount of months. Is you shame? Like, I understand that it ain't really nobody's business. I mean, that is the truth of the matter. It is only your business. But the problem is you are on a reality TV show that is called Love and Marriage, and you are not able to give concrete, definitive answers when somebody asks you a question about how long you have been with this man. Okay, that's what we want to know. You can say 7 months, you can say 6 months, you can say 2 months. I don't care if it was a month, okay? And you want to tell that man I love you after a month, then go right ahead. That is your business. But I just feel like it's the vagueness of it for me. You know what I'm saying? And they called you out on this earlier. So I don't understand. Like, take some feedback on this, take some notes, and just start giving specifics and stop talking around everything. Okay. Anyway, she says they've known each other for 13 years. When he found out that she was divorced, he said he could not let her get away this time. Now, I do like that, okay? And I always tell y'all, if a man really wants you, he will move heaven and earth to be with you, okay? So Martell asks if Melody is also invited, and she says everybody that wants to be there will be there, and that they have not spoken. Then Martell says something about everybody who was her friend. Melody can't seem to keep her friends. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Well, I'm sure she's going to remember you said that. But anyway, Destiny does not want to do anything with Mel at her relaunch. So she don't want to do that. She tells him what Kimmi said about Martell and Monica. She tells him that, apparently Monica revealed to Melody that she felt like he was cheating before they got married. So she stopped working on the wedding. But for Destiny, she's like, well, I mean, y'all still got married, so how true is that? Then that Kimmi said that Melody suspects that they still got a thing going on. To which Martell is like, well, Melnica's a married woman, and that is not true. And Destiny says that she just wanted to warn him that that's the word on the street. Now Martell is wondering why Melody would go there after they were getting along so well and then being invited on the trip with the kids to the Destin. So we shall see how that whole situation plays out. But for right now, I'm just happy to see that we are at least getting an open Destiny who is giving us more intel than we have probably ever known, at least since that first season that she was on the show. Can we all just get one hallelujah for that? Okay, just at least one hallelujah for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.